Hi, welcome to Charter Oak Fiberworks. This is a podcast about knitting and spinning and all things fiber here in New England where I live with my family. You can find me on Instagram where I am most active, and if you want to ever send me a message or anything like that, Instagram is the place to do it. You can find me there as Clarissa Jo Knits or on Ravelry as Clarissa Jo, and that's where my projects will be, that will be able to tell you what patterns I used and what yarn I used and the specifics of things if you're looking to make the same sort of projects. All right, I have to talk really quickly about a couple of finished objects because I've just learned that the post office closes in 30 minutes, and so we've got to get these out before we leave for our trip so that they can get to Christmas on time. The first project I'm going to talk about is a hat for my niece in a cousin gift exchange for my children. My daughter helped me pick out this yarn. It is Lion Brand Vanna's Choice yarn, and the colorway is Dusty Blue. And we kind of Instagram stalked my niece to see what colors she liked to wear and what type of pattern she wore. And she wore lots of blue and lots of lace. So I picked out this beautiful pattern called the Finlandia hat by Paige Bursma. And it was very intuitive, very easy. You did the pattern, and then instead of adjusting her pattern, she actually did a really cool thing where you pick up your stitch marker, you pick up your stitch marker and you move it over 6 stitches, and then you put it back on, and then you knit the same pattern again. So that was really nice that I didn't have to rememorize the pattern, because sometimes when they shift it a little like that, it makes it so that I have it kind of memorized and I make more mistakes because I don't start and stop right. So that was really nice. It turned out beautifully. I'm really excited to have my daughter gift it to her cousin. Okay, my next one is that elephant. I finally finished it. I sewed all of the pieces on this morning. So it's a good thing I have this podcast, because I think this morning I would have just been like, I'll get it to her in January, not a big deal. But since I was like, I told my podcast that I would get it done, here I have it done. So this is Eddie the Friendly Elephant. It is a pattern by Laura Long in a book called Knitted Toy Tales. His ears are still curling. I'm hoping when I package him, if I lay him flat, that hopefully that will help, because I've already blocked it, but it's acrylic yarn, so it's not staying really well. Yeah, so I hope that works. I don't know what yarn I used. It was a gray that I liked from Michael's because I was trying to get it done. And he has black safety eyes that my sister, who crochets beautiful, amazing things, just the cutest little crochet toys I've ever seen, she suggested these to start using instead of sewing on buttons or just doing a yarn French knot and stuff like that. She suggested, and I really like how they turned out, and they saved me a step of sewing, because y'all know how I feel about sewing. He has this cute little tail back here. It's just a tiny one, and he is all done. He is stuffed with cotton. I had a friend give me a whole box of cotton that she was using to teach some kids about Bible times things, and so she had a whole box of cotton, and when she was done she gave it to me. So he's stuffed with like real cotton, and I thought I stuffed him pretty firm, but he's still pretty squishy. So that will go to my partner's niece, who just had a baby. So it's my partner's grandniece. We're great aunt and uncle, and so I also made her up this little sweater to go with it. And I don't remember this pattern. It's on my Ravelry page and everything, but look at these little lacy sleeves. So it's very cute. So those two will go out today to her. My last thing is an object I finished a while ago, but I am terrible at mailing things out to people. So this is for my sister, and I told her I would get her this stuff a long time ago, and I haven't, so I've thrown in some extra goodies for her. I don't have everything here. I have to run and pick them up from the library because I left them on my desk. All right, the first thing though is a pussy hat because my sister did not know how to knit at the time, and she just wore a pink hat that day. But I made her one, so I'm sending her a pussy hat in her package. And I spun up some brown Shetland and then dyed it with some red. And I'm really excited to gift this to her because her favorite color is like a maroony type of color, like the color of this. And this isn't the same color, but I'm excited to send her like a deep red that she can use because she just started knitting this week. I've been sending her videos to help her get started and the things that she needs to learn, and then she'll FaceTime me and we'll troubleshoot some stuff. And I'm just really excited because that means that all of the sisters in my family will work with fiber now. And that makes it awesome to gift things. So I have these two things. I'm going to send her a fox stitch marker from Katrinkles to go on her knitting because right now she's using the plastic Michaels ones. They're okay. They get the job done, but they're not fun. So I'm going to send her a Katrinkles one. And then I have a book called I don't remember what the book is called. It's Maggie Stayfader's newest one. She wrote Raven Boys. And we read Raven Boys last year together and loved it. So I'm really excited to send her that book. I got a advanced reading copy of it for her, so I'm gonna get that to her. And I have a Lego set for her that has snowboard, a little like Lego snowboarder and a like Jeep thing. Anyway, it's really cool. And I am excited to give that to her. So I'm gonna go send these to the post office and then I'll be back to finish my episode. I've just got back from the post office. It went smoothly, which is something I can't say about my post office visits very often, but it went smoothly and all my packages are out, and now I don't have to worry about any other packages going out before Christmas. My last two finished objects that I have today to show you are my brioche cowl. I finally finished it. It feels like it has been taking me forever. So this is not a pattern anywhere. It's when I just kind of cast on and went with it. I cast on 88 stitches on size 7 needles, and I just knit in the round for 3. So I have a 3-row stockinette stitch. And then I started with a brioche. And then I ended with 3 rows, and I did Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off, and it's got some good stretch to it. I feel like it's just kind of flopping open because I used alpaca, and so it doesn't have as much memory to it. All right, the yarn I used is a black alpaca. It's singles. I believe I got it from the Stitch and Bitch company, but I feel like that was on the label. But I took the label off and I've lost the label and now I don't know where it is. So I'm sorry, I have no idea what the black is, but it is soft. On the purple, this is my hand spun. I'm gonna show you this other side because it'll give you a better idea of what this looks like. It is my hand spun, from the company, by Classy Squid Fiber Company. And I found her stuff at New England Fiber Festival. I found her and I bought 2 bats from her because her stuff was just, the colors were so vibrant, the blends were so different. She stayed away from 100% merino blends. She had all sorts of different stuff. She made it a point to write which type of sheep it came from instead of just wool. So it was nice to see stuff like Shetland and Jacob and all these different types of wool that normally people don't specify in, but it was nice to see something besides merino, and it was so fun to spin up. I'd never spun a bat before. This was my very first one. I think I can do better on the next one. I have another one called Zombie Waters. It's bright green. It's so cool. It's so cool. And I think I can do a better job spinning it. So this one came out a lot more chunky and with lots of different sizes. It came out very uneven because I didn't know what I was doing. But now it worked beautifully in here. I made singles and then I plied it with a white cotton thread. There's 1 row in here. Oh, the colorway is the color of Heartache. Pretty that is. There's one row in here, I did something wrong. You guys can see it right there. I don't even know what I did, because when I look at it closely, it doesn't look too off, but it's just off enough to make that line. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's handmade, and handmaids have those little glitchy things in them, and that's okay. That's what makes it special, is that you can tell it was made by me and not a machine. So I should show you the side. So look, it's practically perfect when I fold it over and only show you this section. But there you go. I'm so excited. It comes up quite high on my neck, which means I can put my coat around it and get my face in there and keep everything nice and warm while we're out traveling. It's very similar to another cowl that I've made that's green. So, but this one's purple, and I just love purple right now. Okay, my next finished object is a funny way that I have kind of learned to hack my yarn budget. So me and my partner, we have a budget that we follow, and I have a certain amount that I get to spend kind of on my personal stuff, which runs out fairly quickly in fiber buying, which you all know that it can get expensive. But I have people that I know that want my knitted things, and they have things that they will exchange me for. So my last one is I made a shawl for a woman that I know, and she has made me breakfast burritos in exchange for that. So the yarn for that came out of my grocery budget and not out of my yarn budget, which was awesome. It's a good way to stretch my budget. My next one I made is the same thing. She grows in her garden all of the ingredients to make spaghetti sauce and salsa, and she is trading me canned from her garden spaghetti sauce and salsa. And I made her a baby cardigan for her new grandbaby that's coming. Now, this cardigan is the Ode to Doris by Kelly Van Nykirk. And this is a Patton's worsted wool in, let me look at my show notes, plum heather. So look at this puff sleeve that they have. The sleeve has the same stitches, and then right at the end, you do 10 knit two togethers around this edge, and it just takes it in really sharp right there, and you get this little puffy sleeve. Here is it's a free pattern, so I feel like it's okay to show these things. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. Look at this lace on here that's nice and puffy. And then it has two buttons up here at the top, and I have these two buttons to go on it, which I think will look they're gonna blow each other out now on the camera. But look how pretty those will be together. So I'm finishing that up, and I'm giving it to her tomorrow because she leaves to go out and visit her daughter to help with kids for the birth at the same day that I get back. And so I have to have this done and to her tomorrow. It's still a little bit wet because I blocked it last night. If you're following my Vlogmas, you will see that I blocked it and how I just block it on my couch. Let's see. In most of the podcasts, I always talk about what I'm drinking and in what kind of special mug. I don't have anything special to share with you here. This is my mug. It is from the dollar store. I liked the design on it, and it was the right mug size for what I wanted when I walked by the dollar store. I was like, oh, I love those mugs. I'll get some. So I picked up two of these mugs. I just crocheted a really quick little sweater, a cup sweater, and inside of it, I am drinking Dr. Pepper. I don't drink coffee, and so to get caffeine, I drink Dr. Pepper a lot, too much. I'm gonna work on that in the new year, but yes, Dr. Pepper is what gets me through the day usually, and with all of the sickness that I've had in my house for the last week, I have needed Dr. Pepper to keep going so that I can be a good mom that gets things done. All right, let's talk about my whips. I only have one whip this week, and I'm about to cast on a second one. All right, my first one is held inside this beautiful bag that I got at Circle of Stitches in Salem, Massachusetts. It is this awesome fiber witchy shop. You walk in and there's like crystals and tarot cards and yarn. And it's like my favorite place. It was so cool. I want to go back and buy more things from them. But I got this. It is I'll have to find out who the bag is made. You can see there's a tag. It says stitched by Selbu. If you want to look her up, but she made this bag for them, and it is with this special Phases of the Moon fabric. And I'll show you the inside in a second, but I'll talk to you about. So this is my needle gauge. It is from Green Mountain Spinnery up in Vermont. It's a little sheep. It's so cute. It stays on my sock bag. This is my sock bag. Everything that I need for socks is inside here all the time, and there are always socks inside of it. As soon as I finish a pair of socks, I cast on another pair of socks so that I'm never without socks. These are my knitting that I carry around everywhere. It's a small bag. It's pretty mindless, so I can do it anywhere I'm at. If I'm waiting for something, or if my daughter's reading to me, if I'm sitting in the car waiting somewhere, anywhere, I just knit. So all of my stuff is on here. So that's why I have my needle gauge on here, is so that I can make sure to be able to tell my 0, 1s, and 2 needles apart, because they're all in here. My buttons are this little cool pirate knitting needle, one that I got at Webb's. And then this one says, life's too short for plain white socks, which is perfect for my sock bag. Okay, I don't think I'll be able to really show you the inside, but the inside has a bunch of constellations. And I believe that they are the horoscope constellations, the astrology constellations. Because I see like Cancer here, and it looks like Aquarius and Taurus. So I think that they are. But it's such a cool bag. Such a cool bag. All right. I knit my socks congruently because I get second sock syndrome pretty bad. So I knit them at the same time, and I do like the cuff of one, and then I go over and do the cuff of the other. And then I do the length of the sock, like from where your cuff change color is all the way down to where you turn the heel on one sock, and then I go over and do it on the other one. And then I just keep swapping them so that when I finish a sock, I'm basically done, because I only have the toe to do on the other sock. So this pattern is the Rye Socks by Tin Can Knits. And I used, I'm trying to pull out all of my stuff here because I should have gotten this ready beforehand. I bet people who do this a lot already know to get this stuff ready and not to fiddle with it here on the podcast like I am. Okay. This is my heel toe cuff color. It is a Cascade 220 Superwash in sport weight. And I am doing the medium size sock. So here I am, I cast on, I'm using size 2 and 4 needles instead of size 3 and 5, which is what they suggest because my gauge is a little bit different. So here it is on size 2 needles is my cuff. Now, I'm going to tell you, after I just talked about how I do things congruently, I'm going to tell you that I cheated a little because I was so excited to use the yarn that I'm using for the body of the sock. So this, ta-da! This is 100 Ravens yarn, General Leia Organa Solo, and it is so beautiful. And I couldn't wait after I finished the color, the contrasting color over here to cast it on. So here is my contrasting color there. And then guys, look at this. Look at how that knit up. It's like stripy. Oh. I can't get enough. Look at it. So I put it down. I knit a couple of rows. I knit that much, and then I put it down, and I went back over to the contrasting color of the other one and cast that on and get going, because I know if I start this and I just keep going, then I'm only going to have one sock. because I know myself. So again, the Rye Socks by Tin Can Knits. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. It's a worsted weight sock pattern with a garter stitch row inside of it here. And the garter stitch is turning out really nicely too. So I'm excited to keep working on these, and these are going to go with me on my travels so that I have some socks to work on as we're traveling. Okay. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what I've been spinning this week. It hasn't been a lot of spinning because we've been so sick and I've spent a lot of time up in bed cuddling my kids. So I haven't spun a lot, but when I did get spinning, I turned out with some beautiful things. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is this is a Shetland fleece that my friend gave me a bump to. And if you watched last week, then you'll recognize it from the little bump I had. It only gave me 12 yards or so of it. So it's just a little bit. I actually went over to her house and we hung out together. The kids played with puppies and jumped on the trampoline, and they ran around outside the whole time. And we were outside for some of it, but we went inside and sat together and spun. And so I spun this up there so I could show her what it looked like when it was done. So I spun it into singles, and then I chain plied it together to get a 3-ply on it. And I just didn't want to mess around with bobbins to do a 2-ply. And that's the only reason. It's nothing fancy. But that is what I ended up with. I washed it in Eucalyptus and snapped it last night, and it's all dry now and ready to go. All right, the second thing I spun up this week is this. Look at, can you see the shine on that? There's the shine. So this is a 1-ounce sample that I picked up at Webb's a couple months ago. Look at how this turned out. I don't even know. It is a merino, bamboo, and silk. I really want to see a bambino. Every time I see it start with merino and bamboo, I just want to say bambino. So merino and bamboo and silk blend. I started with a short forward draft of it because that's my go-to, and I was at my friend's and I didn't want to take the time to look it up, which is kind of lazy, but I just went for it. I was like, I'll just spin it. It's just an ounce. I'll see what happens. So I started with short forward draft, and I was pulling and it broke the yarn a couple of times and it was not working. So I just moved to a long backward draft, a supported one, because I'm still a new enough spinner that I don't really trust that I can't do it supported. So a supported long backwards draft, and it just worked. It was exactly the way it was supposed to be spun up. It just came into these smooth singles, and it just pulled. As I pulled back, it just oh, beautiful, even, everything that you want to have happen when you're spinning. It just was perfect. And I was like, oh, okay. And turned out these beautiful even singles. And then I did a 2-ply together of them. And it's given me about 50 yards. It's given me about 50 yards of yarn. I don't know what I'll do with it. I'll probably end up putting it as color work inside of a hat. So I think the shine with a more flat yarn will be it will just stand out. So I'm super excited by that. It shed like crazy while I was spinning it though. So I wore corduroy pants because when I wanted to be warm while we were out visiting them, because we spend so much time outside with the sheep and the puppies and everything like that, that I wanted to stay nice and warm. So I wore my corduroys, and as I'm spinning this, every time I pulled that roving, it's just all over my pants, all over my hoodie. And there was fiber flying everywhere. I was breathing it in. I was itchy. Not because I was having a reaction, but just, you've got stuff in your face, and my nose itched, and I blew my nose and blew out fiber that night. shed like crazy, but it was beautiful. So I would do it again. I would do it again. I would have to wear an apron. Sometimes I wear an apron when I'm spinning so that all of that stuff that rubs on your lap gets onto my apron and not on my pants. But this time I'm like, it's fine if it sheds a little bit. It's on my corduroy pants. They're kind of my like go to the farm pants, go outside when we go hiking or jumping in the rain or anything like that. I wear these brown corduroy pants that are kind of falling apart, but they keep me warm. So I like them, but yeah, shed all over the place. But I would do it again because the shine is so pretty. All right, my last spin this week. I finished up the purple mystery wool, and it is no longer mysterious. It's a little mysterious. I don't know the colorway. So I spun it originally into very, very fine, thin singles. And I was going to two-ply it together and then use it as a fingering weight to make Skeindeer Knits Christmas Mystery Knit-Along mittens. But I decided I didn't want Christmassy mittens. I wanted to wear them all year long. And it's not that I'm a Grinch. Maybe I am a Grinch. I might be a little bit of a Grinch. But it's not that I'm a Grinch that I didn't want to have them. It's that I don't have any other mittens. And so if I made Christmas ones, then right away I'd have to make another pair. And I don't think I'll finish these till after Christmas. So I decided to make her Selbu mittens. And when I changed to Junior Selbu mittens, those are a DK weight. So I decided to chain ply my singles so that I could get a DK weight yarn. And I have achieved that. They turned out so nicely. In fact, my partner, when he saw it, he's like, oh, that looks like real yarn. Thanks. What have I been doing all this whole time? It's all been real yarn. But I get what he's saying because it does look really, it has a nice finish to it when it's three-plied. So that one is done, and it's not really a mystery anymore. So I visited my local yarn store last week, and I don't go into my local yarn store as much as I should. Like, they don't know me by my face. Or they don't know my name. They probably know my face. I find a lot of people remember me and recognize me. But I went in, and I was walking around, and they have a lot of needle felting there. They love to needle felt. And in their roving section, I was just kind of walking by, and I noticed that they had the roving for this shawl I made out of this maroon. They had that roving sitting in a box there. And I grabbed it, and I was like, wait, can you tell me what this is? And the woman, I think she may have been the shop owner, she was so sweet because she was like, oh, that's roving. It's wool that has come and been dyed, and it's used for needle felting projects. And I cut her off, which is probably not very nice to me, but I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I already know what it is. I have some that I spun up and I've turned into a shawl now. I have my beautiful shawl. I'm like, but I got it from someone else, and it's like, it's been this mystery roving to me. I have a maroon and I have a purple and I had a green. Can you tell me what it is or what brand it is or where it came from or anything, what the content is? That's what I really wanted to know, is what is in it. And she was like, oh, let me look. So she came over and she pulled out another ball, and it was the same green that I had. And I was like, oh, great. Tell me more. And it had a little tag on it, and it just said 100% fine wool. Nothing else. So, well, it's not totally a mystery anymore because it is 100% fine wool, which probably means merino. It's kind of been found. I can go find more if I need to at my local yarn store. But I've got it. I've got this all spun up. I am going to mix it with this. And together, oh, sorry. Maybe if I put that in. And together, they are going to be the Selbu mittens by Skeindeer Knits. And I am casting that on today or tomorrow so that it can go to Iceland with me as a project. Okay. I'm going to share with you what I'm reading, and then I'll be done. So this is a book called Slow Knitting, A Journey from Sheep to Skein to Stitch by Hannah Thyssen. And it is so pretty, but she talks about how to slow down and kind of enjoy the process of knitting, and to let that kind of guide you through your knitting projects instead of just trying to knock out project after project for as cheaply as possible, to choose things mindfully. And I really love that because I am trying to be more mindful about how I live my life and more intentional about things, especially with the children and with our homeschooling, as I'm trying to be intentional and enchanted and aware of what's going on. And so this book has really spoke to me, but the photographs in it are so pretty. Her biggest thing is she talks about, let me see if I can find, she has 5 things that she focuses on that she calls her basic tenets. And so you should get the book and you should read it. I checked mine out at the library. You should see if your library has some. Wow, the photos. Oh, there went my bookmark. So now I'll never find where I was. There went my bookmark. But there you go, slow knitting. And then I just picked up a Barnes & Noble book today. I didn't pick up a Barnes & Noble book. I picked up a book from Barnes & Noble called Finn Family Moomintroll. And it's a book by an author who lives in Finland, and it's about these little troll things. And they're really cute, but it was like the perfect book for me to be like, oh, this would be great reading for the kids on the airplane and where we're at and in the airport as we travel in cars and trains and planes and buses and whatever we're doing to do. So I'm excited. I'll tell you more about that next time, and you'll probably get little snippets of it through my Vlogmas. All right. On YouTube, I am doing Vlogmas, which means every day of December, I am putting out a little video of my day and all of the things that go on. Some of them are fiber related because I have a lot of fibery things that I do during the day, but it also is sprinkled in with a little bit of what our family is doing, where we're going, and everything like that. So if you want to follow along on our trip to Iceland, then that is the place to be, because I will be putting out a video every day. So go and check that out and catch up with what I've already done. And then as I'm gone this next week, you will be able to see everything that is going on. So have a good day, happy knitting, and I will see you in 2 weeks.